Stop making these PCos diet mistakes. Hi, my name is Despina Pavlou and I'm the founder of PCos Oracle, where I talk about all things PCOS and how to reverse it naturally. So if that's what you're looking for, then consider subscribing. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload a new video. Now, before we get into the video, I just want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Let's Get Checked. So in today's video, I want to be talking about these PCOS diet mistakes we've all made, and I want to bring them up to you so hopefully I can prevent you from making them. They don't address the root cause, they don't work helping the body function properly. They kind of just put you deeper in the hole, and you want to be getting out of the hole, not going deeper within that hole. We've all made these mistakes, and if from watching this video you realise you're making this, and hopefully the reasoning behind it makes you realise, oh, okay, maybe this wasn't the best idea, then that would be awesome. A lot of these bad mistakes kind of fall into the myths that we all are led to believe when we've just been diagnosed with PCOS and we're scrolling through social media, scrolling through Google, looking for the best diet for PCOS. What should I be eating? What should I be avoiding? It can be really overwhelming, confusing to say the least, but hopefully in this video I can help you sift through the overabundance of information that you are seeing online and help you identify, I guess, what's truth and what's a myth and what shouldn't be followed. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into PCOS diet mistake number 1. So I want to start off with the low carb diet, or keto, which is predominantly it's a high fat diet, moderate protein, low carb. But specifically, let's just talk about avoiding carbs, because we've all been told at the doctor's office or people on social media saying low carb's best for PCOS. You have to go low carb if you have insulin resistance. You have to go low carb to manage your blood sugar. You have to do this. You have to do that. Carbs are evil. Carbs are, we just demonize carbs. And you got to feel sorry for that carb. So I've made a whole in-depth video on YouTube about answering the question, which is frequently asked: should I avoid carbohydrates if I have PCOS? This is one of the most frequently asked questions I receive. So number 1, glucose is our primary source of energy, and while our body can make energy or fuel from protein or fat through a process called gluconeogenesis, this is very stressful on the body. Cortisol, which is the primary stress hormone, rises to break down tissues like muscle, organs, connective tissue, which gets sent to the liver to be converted into glucose. The glucose is released into the bloodstream. The mitochondria, which act like a furnace, converts the glucose into ATP. This is a molecule that stores energy, which is used to drive many processes in the body, like muscle contractions. And in that video I explain, which I highly recommend watching because I go into detail about this, but I just want to kind of summarize so you can get an idea of why it's a PCOS diet mistake. Now, gluconeogenesis depletes the liver of many nutrients, including copper, magnesium, vitamin A, and B vitamins. Now, all these vitamins and minerals are crucial to, we need to have a healthy balance of minerals in the body, otherwise this can cause the body stress, this can cause functions not to occur optimally, and then it's just stress. It's just a huge stress on the body. The thyroid needs glucose. In the liver, T4, which is the inactive thyroid hormone, is converted into T3, the active thyroid hormone. Now, in order for this process to take place, the liver needs glucose. If there's inadequate amounts of glucose in the liver, then T3 levels will be low, and as a result, there will be a decrease in ATP production. So those are just some of the main reasons why we need carbs, sugar. So go check out that full in-depth video. Click the card here to check that out, to find out more. But I want to move on to the second PCOS diet mistake that you're probably making, and we've all made. So don't worry about that, we've all made them. But it's going on a low-fat diet, avoiding fat. Again, just like with carbohydrates, we have been They've been demonized as the cause of, if you eat fat, you automatically gain weight or fat. It doesn't work. If you eat fat, that doesn't automatically make you gain fat. Like, if you think about that, that doesn't seem right. But we're all led to believe it, and we've all fallen victim to it. But fat is necessary. It's a key macronutrient that we need for many reasons. One of the reasons why we need fat is because it is necessary for hormone production and regulation. See, our steroid hormones, progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, are made from fat and cholesterol. So we need to be eating fat to help with that production. If you're not eating fat, then we're making it hard for our hormones to be created. Also required for the transportation and absorption of certain vitamins and minerals, such as vitamin A, D, E, and K, and antioxidants such as beta-carotene and lycopene. But here's the thing that you need to be aware of when consuming fats, because not all fats are created equally, and there's some fats that we should be avoiding. Now let me explain to you, let me touch on the ones that you should be avoiding. These are polyunsaturated fats, PCos, as you may have come across. They're found in sunflower oil, corn oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil, walnut oil, almond oil, rapeseed oil, just to name a few. These unsaturated fats, these PCos, are unstable when exposed to heat and light. So here's the thing, the average body temperature is 98.6 Fahrenheit, and our bodies are constantly exposed to sunlight. So when we eat or cook with PCos, oxidation occurs, and this leads to the creation of free radicals, and this can cause inflammation and damage to the body. Another thing with PCos is that they are pro-estrogenic. And we're living in a world where we are constantly exposed to too much estrogen, whether it's in our food choices, the lifestyle kind of things we do, whether we're over exercising, makeup products, our water. There's just a lot of things that we are exposed to when it comes to, and we are taking in too much estrogen, and this can cause serious health problems. It's been linked to aging, degeneration of organs, endometriosis, PCOS, impaired thyroid function, impaired fertility, just a lot of things. So we want to be limiting, decreasing our estrogen, and to be supporting hormonal balance and potentially, reducing estrogen dominant symptoms. So you want to be swapping those PCOs, those unsaturated fats, for saturated fats like coconut oil, ghee, tallow, grass-fed butter. This is because these saturated fats do not go rancid and break down when exposed to heat or oxygen. The third PCOS diet mistake is often when we hear, you have to go low carb or low fat, the only kind of macronutrient that is left is protein. And pretty much no one has a bad word to say about protein. And I'm not saying protein is bad, you should go low protein or avoid protein, no. So there's no denying the importance of protein. It's needed for muscle building, hormone production, transportation of hormones. It's critical. But like anything, too much can be bad. So when you eat protein, it's important to be eating it with carbs. Just like you eat carbs with a protein to balance blood sugar levels, you need to eat your protein with a carb. If carbs are not consumed, stress hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, and glucagon are released to prevent hyperglycemia. So, like I mentioned in the carbohydrate section, when we don't eat carbs with our protein, the body will go through a process called gluconeogenesis to break down muscle organs to get that glucose to help, get the nutrients to help with balancing blood sugar levels and prevent that dip. Now, breaking down protein for energy increases inflammatory amino acids, which inhibit thyroid function. Protein breakdown through the process of gluconeogenesis increases the amount of tryptophan, cysteine, histidine in the blood. So here's the thing. There is anti-inflammatory amino acids and inflammatory amino acids. And excess tryptophan in the blood can cause a stress response, leading to a slower metabolism, depression, inflammation, and fatigue. Cysteine has been shown to inhibit the enzyme thyroid peroxidase, which is needed in the production of T4. So T4 is the inactive thyroid hormone, which is converted into T3. So not having enough T4 will not help the production of T3. PCOS diet mistake number 4 is avoiding fruit. And I've also have a full in-depth video on, answering the question, should you avoid fruit for PCOS? Is it bad? Because that's another, misconception, myth. And I also touch upon it in my should you avoid carbs for PCOS. Click the card here to check all those videos out. But just a quick summary of the points I touch on in that video. Now, one of the biggest fears when we talk about fruit is obviously fructose is the sugar found in fruit. So when people hear fructose, they automatically assume, weight gain. But for fructose to be converted into weight gain, it would have to be converted to fat via de novo lipogenesis at high level. But de novo lipogenesis is very low in humans. Some say de novo lipogenesis of fructose in humans is only 2%. And another thing is, you would have to eat a lot of fructose to be converting it to fat. So, you don't have to worry about consuming a lot of fruit if that's where you're only getting your fructose. Well, the problem is, which I've mentioned in these videos, is that people are getting so much fructose from their processed foods coming in the form of high fructose corn syrup. That's the problem. Over the past 50 years or so, we have been eating way too much high fructose corn syrup. So that's what you need to be aware of, not your fruit. So don't be afraid of fruit. They're source of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and fructose is more thermogenic than glucose. Fructose has little effect on blood sugar and insulin. Ingestion of fructose has shown to increase insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. PCOS diet mistake number 5 is avoiding dairy. Now, this is a pretty controversial topic, and I've made a video about this as well, so click the card here to check out that full video. But I kind of just want to summarize what I said in that video. Now, I don't really want to go into the benefits of that, but there are tons of benefits. It's high in calcium, it's a source of vitamin A, high quality protein, vitamin K2. Those are just the benefits. I go into detail in that video. Now, a lot of people are, as I mentioned in that video, now people avoid it because they've heard that there is hormones, antibiotics, and obviously no one wants to be eating food that has, hormones in it. And another reason why is that, cow's milk is inflammatory. So in that video, and what I want to just kind of reiterate now is not all milk, not all dairy is created equally. So in response to the inflammatory drawback of milk is to go for the A2 casein milk products found in goat, sheep, buffalo, camel, and even in other cow breeds, older cow breeds like Normandy, Guernsey. And also when it comes to the hormones and the antibiotics, just make sure you're finding, if you're buying milk, make sure you're buying milk that says hormone-free or organic. These often will not have hormones found in them. So if you want to find out more about dairy, click the card here to watch that video. I highly recommend. The 6th PCOS diet mistake, which is a little controversial, is just eating way too many vegetables. I love vegetables, but from more research and speaking with others and just learning from others. But here's the thing: some of these vegetables contain toxins in order to ward away off animals from eating them or just to protect themselves. Oxalic acid is naturally found in plant foods, and the problem with oxalic acid is that it binds with calcium and can form oxalates. The problem with oxalates is that they can inhibit the absorption of calcium and can cause kidney stones. Now, too much fiber or the wrong type of fiber can increase toxic load, impact digestion, increase inflammation, and cause a lot more digestive disrupt. The 7th PCOS diet mistake is following low-calorie diets. Now, this often happens when we're trying to lose weight. We've been told by the doctor, to help your PCOS, lose weight, cut carbs. But following low-calorie diets, restrictive diets are a stress on the body, and we want to be minimizing that stress. Now, research shows that low-calorie diets, in the long term, can really raise cortisol levels. It can disrupt our cycle, and it can prevent ovulation and stop our period. Because here's the thing: the menstrual cycle, reproduction, happens, in order to have a baby, to conceive. If we're not feeding ourselves enough, the first things to be shut off is our reproductive functions. It's not seen as a priority. Having a menstrual cycle, the reproductive functions, is to conceive. So if we're not eating enough for ourselves, then how are we going to be feeding enough for, that growing child within us? How are we going to feed it? How are we going to help it grow? Focusing on losing weight is not getting to the root cause of your PCOS. There are different types of PCOS, and we need to be identifying the root cause, like what has caused the hormonal imbalance. Losing weight is not going to address it. Once you figured out what's causing this hormone imbalance, weight loss will be like a side effect of the hormonal balance. So don't focus on it. It's not addressing the root cause, and you really want to be focusing on that. It shouldn't be the focus, it shouldn't be the priority. The priority should be hormonal balance. The 8th PCOS diet mistake is buying every single supplement to be great for PCOS. So when I was diagnosed with PCOS, I thought I had to buy every single supplement said to be great. And there are a lot of supplements out there that I said to be great for PCOS. But the thing that I want to speak about in this part of the video is that every supplement you take, if you take a supplement, has to be targeted to address your root cause, your specific hormone imbalance. Otherwise, it is a waste of money and may even do more harm than good. But here's other kind of factors I want you to think about when it comes to supplements. Things don't work on their own in the body. When you take a nutrient, a vitamin or mineral, doesn't go in the body and just do its own thing. A lot of nutrients work together. A lot of the supplements we buy, unfortunately, are synthetic vitamins, and synthetic vitamins can be highly toxic. Taking supplements that we don't need can cause underlying mineral imbalances. A lot of supplements, like a multivitamin, are often in bad ratios. And PCOS diet mistake number 8, this is the last diet mistake that I want to touch on in this video, and that is intermittent fasting. I have a video on, should you follow intermittent fasting for PCOS? And since making that video, some of my beliefs around intermittent fasting have changed. I'm not really an advocate of it, and I wouldn't recommend you to follow it, in my opinion. And intermittent fasting is just another stressor that we're adding to the pile. I also spoke about intermittent fasting with Elisa Vidi. Now, she's a women's health hormone expert, and you can check that video interview here also. I highly recommend watching that. And Elisa speaks about how there's no research on intermittent fasting on women of reproductive age. And, it's suggested that women of reproductive age should not follow intermittent fasting. One study found that intermittent fasting enhanced insulin sensitivity in men, but worsened in women. Going an extended period of time without eating puts a lot of stress on the liver, on the adrenals, and suppresses our thyroid, which can impact our metabolism. Like I keep touching on throughout this video, is that when we don't feed our body, it's in a state of stress, and we go through the process of gluconeogenesis to get the energy, that glucose. Now, a lot of people will say that they feel so much better following intermittent fasting, and that is like the consensus. People do feel better following it for a short period of time, maybe even a couple of months, a year, 2 years. But issues come further down the line. Like, a lot of things happen after a long time. It doesn't immediately happen. When our body kind of switches to use it, relying on stress hormones, surviving through stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, everything's sort of perfect. You're on that. You're constantly go, everything's seems perfect until things start to crash. Your thyroid gives way, and then things start to go wrong. But while you're running on cortisol and adrenaline, everything's perfectly fine. Like, you feel fine, you've got that energy. Adrenaline will break down those fat cells, and for a lot of people that'll be like, oh yes, that's awesome, breaking down fat cells. But if your cells are full of polyunsaturated fat, these will come into the bloodstream, seep into the body, and cause inflammation. And this is why we want to be eating more saturated fats like coconut oil. When that comes in the body, it reduces the inflammation. Our bodies are just not in the current kind of world that we're living in. We are just exposed to so much stuff: iron overload, PCos, just not mineral imbalances, hormonal imbalances. And when we follow intermittent fasting, for those benefits that we hear, autophagy, all this stuff, we're just putting stress on the body, and it's just not supporting health. We're not helping our body. And when we're going extended periods of time without eating, and when we don't feed our body, the glucose, the carbs, we're making it difficult for the liver to detoxify. So we can't detoxify all of the stuff in the body. So everything remains. Estrogen is reabsorbed. We will have high estrogen, all this stuff. Glycogen is needed in the liver for it to do all of its 500 plus functions, like detoxifying. So we need to be regularly providing the liver and our organs with the glucose they need to function. So that's basically my stance on intermittent fasting. If we weren't living in a world where we are constantly exposed to stresses, whether visible, invisible, maybe fasting would be beneficial and great for health benefits. But thinking about our current health, it's just another stressor making things worse. So that's the end of the video. I truly hope that you gain some value from this video and you learn of the different PCos diet mistakes. And before we wrap up the video, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Let's Get Checked, and speak a little bit about them. Let's Get Checked provides you with easily accessible at-home testing and professional medical consultations without ever having to leave your home. So the way it works is super simple. You choose a test kit online, Let's Get Checked then delivers it to you in discreet packaging with next day delivery. You then activate your test, collect your sample in the morning, and return it using the prepaid shipping label provided. From there, Let's Get Checked reviews your sample in their lab and shares your results with you via your secure online account within 2 to 5 days. It is super quick, seamless, and your results are confidential. Once your results are available, they will be reviewed by a physician. A nurse will then contact you for a consultation over the phone. Finally, in some cases, the physician will provide prescriptions for you to the pharmacy of your choosing. I believe everyone should have access to hormone testing, and Let's Get Checked makes that possible. It's never been this simple to stay on top of your hormonal health. Check out Let's Get Checked today. Visit tryletsgetchecked.com/PCOS. Use code PCOS20 for 20% off your order. Your health should never take a back seat. So like I said in the intro, I hope that if you have made them and something's kind of clicked in your brain that you're like, oh, okay, maybe I should stop this. Or if you've read somewhere and you're thinking of doing it, hopefully this video has stopped you from making these mistakes. I really hope you learned something from this video. Comment down below if you made any of these PCos diet mistakes or if you learned something new. Share it to prevent others from making the same mistakes, and subscribe for plenty more videos, and I will catch you in the next one.